Hey everyone, Ben here. Today we're starting something completely different on the channel. Now, for a long time now, you may have heard me reference homesteading and how I feel that getting into that homesteading lifestyle could be a big benefit to someone diabetic. Well, today we're starting the search. Maria and I have been talking about something that's honestly a pretty big decision, and it's where we want to spend the rest of our lives. Not the next 5 years, not the next 10 years, the actual rest of our lives. And we're starting by looking for a place where we can slow down life, raise more of our own food, live healthier, spend more time outdoors, and build a homestead that our family can enjoy for years to come. So I thought, why not bring all of this journey along to you guys as well? Over the next several months, we're going to research every state that we're seriously considering. We'll talk about the good, the bad, the hidden surprises, the costs, the opportunities, the challenges, and then we're going to score each and every single one. Each series that I do like this, one state is going to be eliminated completely forever. Um, and we're not going to base on what somebody else thinks or what some YouTuber content creator comes out here and says about each of the states. So today we're actually starting with the only two states that aren't connected to the lower 48 because we felt it made the most sense to put them here, and that is Hawaii and Alaska. One is warm all year, and the other has some of the coldest winters in America. One has palm trees, one has mooses. Could either one become a forever home? Let's find out. Before we get started, I have one question for you. If you had to decide right now, would you pick Hawaii or would you pick Alaska? Don't overthink it. Drop down in the comments section and answer which state you would choose and a little quick blurb on why. Then, after you see both of the scorecards, come back and tell me if you changed your mind. And if you enjoy the video and you like videos like this, please hit that like button and the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. It really helps our channel grow. Now, before we jump in to Hawaii, I want to tell you why we're even making this series. Why we're looking at a forever homestead. This isn't because we hate Ohio. We don't. This isn't because we're trying to run away from where we live. We're really not. We're trying to actually build something better. Several years ago, I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. That diagnosis changed the way I look at food. It changed the way I look at my health. And honestly, changed the way I look at life. I started asking myself, what if we grew more of our own food? What if we knew exactly where our meat came from? What if we could walk outside, pick vegetables from our garden, gather fresh eggs, and fill our freezer with food we harvested ourselves? What if our daughter grew up learning those things instead of thinking food only comes from a grocery store? That's the life we're looking for. A healthier life, a simpler life. It does not mean easier, it means simpler. And most importantly, more family time, more outside time, less stress, definitely way less processed foods, more fresh food, more self reliance. Now, does that mean we're moving? Honestly, we really don't know yet. That's exactly why we're making this series. We're going to research every state, we'll score every state, and together we'll figure out which ones could become our forever home. All right, without further ado, let's get right in, guys, and let's look at Hawaii. I'll be honest with you. Before I started doing all this research, Hawaii sounded almost picture perfect. Warm weather, beaches, fresh fruit growing everywhere, no snow, that's more Maria's thing, no scraping ice off of windshields, again, that's a Maria thing. It sounds like paradise, and honestly, in a lot of ways, it really is. But remember, we're not looking for the best place to take a vacation. We're looking for the best place where we might spend the rest of our lives. Those are two very different things. So let's start with the weather. One thing Hawaii definitely has going for it is the climate. The temperatures don't swing all over the place. You don't have brutal winters. You don't have months where it's 20 below zero. Most of the year you're living in weather people save up money just to visit for a week. Now, for me, there's one downside. I don't do well in the heat, especially heat with humidity. I've always preferred cooler weather climates. So while Hawaii scores really high for most people, for me, it's not quite perfect. Now, let's talk about the land, because that's one of the biggest reasons we're making this series. We don't want a subdivision. We don't want neighbors 20 feet away. We want acreage. We want room for a garden, room for chickens, maybe goats, maybe rabbits, maybe a cow, maybe even a few larger animals someday. And that's where Hawaii starts getting a little tougher. Land is expensive. Not a little expensive, really expensive, especially if you're looking for enough property to actually build a working homestead. Now, can it be done? Absolutely. People homestead in Hawaii every single day successfully. But compared to many other states, you're probably going to spend a whole lot more money getting it started. Next, let's talk about growing food. This is where Hawaii is particularly amazing. You can grow food almost year round. Think about that for a second. While people in northern states are shoveling snow, you could be harvesting vegetables and fresh fruits grow all over the island. Papayas, bananas, mangoes, avocados, and oh yes, those pineapples that everyone loves. Things that most of us have only bought in a grocery store. It's a major advantage. Let's talk about hunting and fishing. Fishing, absolutely incredible. Some of the best ocean fishing in the world. Hunting, it is available, but it's also very different than what I'm used to. You're not talking about huge forests filled with deer like parts of the mainland. You're talking about different animals, different regulations, and a completely different hunting experience. Let's talk about jobs. Keep in mind, Maria is in the healthcare field. She's a CT technologist. The good news, there are healthcare jobs all over Hawaii. The bad news, the cost of living is also much higher in Hawaii. So making a good paycheck doesn't automatically mean you'll have more money left over. Everything costs more: groceries, housing, building supplies, fuel, utilities. Almost everything has to be brought to the inland, brought to the islands. And somebody has to pay for that transportation. Eventually, the cost gets passed on to the residents. Let's talk about family. This is huge for Maria. Family matters a lot. Moving to Hawaii isn't like moving to another state where you can jump in the truck and drive home for the weekend. You're talking about a flight, a very long flight. You're talking about massive planning. You're talking about spending a lot more money just to visit. Birthdays, Christmas, grandparents' days, family emergencies, those all become a lot harder when you're living thousands of miles away. Now, does that mean Hawaii is a bad choice? Absolutely not. Not even close. For the right family, Hawaii could be one of the greatest places on earth to live. It's beautiful. The climate in Hawaii is incredible. Fresh food is everywhere. The scenery is breathtaking. An outdoor lifestyle is hard to beat. But for our family, we have to balance all of that against the cost of living, the price of land, and the distance from the people we love. So, let's see Hawaii's scorecard. For us, you will see Hawaii ranks 63. Some of the downfalls: cost of living, it scored particularly low. Job and income, it was slightly above middle of the way. Homesteading potential, again, just barely above middle of the way. Diabetes lifestyle, it is beautiful there, so it does promote getting outside a lot more often. Family proximity is 2 out of a 10. And recreation and outdoor activities, it blows the charts off at a 10 out of a 10. But overall, scoring out Hawaii, we come in at a 63. So now the question becomes, can Alaska beat it? Let's find out. Alaska. All right. Let's head about as far away from Hawaii as you can get. Alaska. I'll be honest, this state has had my attention for a very, very long time. Every time I look at pictures, every time I watch a video, every time I research it, I find myself thinking, what if? What if this is the place we've been looking for? Not because it's perfect, because it's not, but because it checks so many of the boxes that matter to me. Now, let's start with the weather. Completely different than Hawaii. Some of you are probably thinking, Ben, you're about as crazy as you can get. It's cold, it snows, it gets dark. You're right, it does. But here's the thing. I've never liked hot weather. I've never liked humidity. I'd much rather put on another jacket or another layer of clothing than spend months trying to cool off. For me, the cooler temperatures are actually a huge advantage. Now, the long winters, those are real. That snow amount that parts of Alaska get, that's very real. The darkness during parts of the winter, that's real too. Those aren't things you can ignore. You have to be honest about them. Let's talk about the land. This is where Alaska starts getting really exciting. There are still places in Alaska where you can buy enough land to actually build a real homestead. Not just a backyard garden. I'm talking about room to spread out. Room for animals, room for your garden, room for greenhouses, room to actually breathe. Now, building there isn't cheap. Everything costs more in Alaska. Building materials, equipment, fuel, shipping costs. You're paying to live somewhere that's farther away from just about everything. But for us, the trade off might be worth it. Well, let's talk about food. This is probably one of my favorite parts. Imagine filling your freezer with fresh caught salmon. Imagine harvesting a moose that feeds your family for months, raising chickens for fresh eggs, growing large vegetables during the summer months, using a greenhouse to stretch out your growing season. No, you won't go tropical fruit there, but you can absolutely produce a surprising amount of your own food. That's the ideal, really excites me. Let's talk about jobs. Maria is a CT technologist. The good news is, yes, Alaska still has healthcare jobs, especially around Anchorage, the Matsuut Valley. The challenge, the farther away you get from those larger communities, the fewer opportunities you're going to find. So we'd have to choose our location very carefully. Let's talk about family. This is the hardest category for Maria because no matter how amazing Alaska is, it does not move Ohio any closer to it. Family birthdays, holidays, quick weekend visits. They're not quick any longer. They're expensive. They have to be planned months in ahead. It's probably the single biggest sacrifice Alaska asks us to make. Now, let's talk about recreation. Honestly, I don't know if any state can actually compete here. Fishing, salmon, halibut, hunting, you got moose, caribou, bear, mountains, lakes, wildlife. If you love being outside, Alaska is hard to beat. What about diabetes for me? I think Alaska has some real advantages. Being outside more, walking more, fishing, working around a homestead, eating more wild game, eating more fresh caught fish, cooking more meals at home. Those things fit the healthier lifestyle we're trying to build. Now, make no mistake, there are challenges too. Fresh produce costs a ton more there. The winters are long. The nights are long. You have to stay active on purpose during those months. You can't just assume the lifestyle will make you healthier. You still have to put in that hard work. So after looking at everything, the weather, the jobs, the cost of living, the land, homesteading opportunities, the fishing, the hunting, the healthcare, the distance from family, and everything else on a scorecard, this is where Alaska lands for us. I have to admit, it scored even better than I expected, but did it score high enough to beat Hawaii? Let's put them side by side and find out. Before we announce the our winner on these guys, there's one thing I should have probably told you in the beginning of the video. Me and Maria, we've actually been to both of these states. Our daughter Catherine has been to just Alaska. Me and Maria went about 2, 3 years prior to having Catherine to Hawaii on a work vacation. We just didn't sit behind a computer and read the articles. We didn't just watch a bunch of YouTube videos. We stood in both of these places. We experienced both of them firsthand. And I've never forgotten either trip. In Hawaii, after about 45 minutes poolside talking to a work colleague of mine, that's all it took, 45 minutes. I ended up with the worst lobster sunburn that I've ever had in my entire life. That was my first reminder that paradise isn't always as perfect as it looks in the pictures. Then, a few years back, we went to Alaska near the end of March. I stepped off of a trail that I thought was solid snow. The next thing I knew, and little did I know, I was sunk chest deep in snow. I couldn't believe how much snow was actually there. That was my reminder that Alaska doesn't play around either. So trust me, neither one of these states is perfect. Both of them has challenges. Both of them have things we'd absolutely love. And quite frankly, both of them have things we'd really have to have our heads examined for moving to them. But that's exactly what we're doing in this series. We're looking not to find the perfect state for everyone, because frankly, I don't think one exists. We're trying to find the state that best fits what we want our vision of family to be moving forward. And after looking at the weather, the cost of living, the jobs, the healthcare, the homesteading opportunities, the fishing, the hunting, the gardening, the distance from family, and everything else we scored, today's winner, Alaska. That does not automatically mean that it becomes our forever home. We still got a lot of states left to check off, but we have actually been to a very large amount of every state. You know, we've spent time in Florida, Michigan, Georgia, Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey. Like, we have been to a lot of states. I actually think there's 2 states left in the US that I've actually not physically put boots on the ground in. One of those being Delaware. And I think Maria's just slightly behind me. I think she's not been to maybe 4 or 5 states. I'd have to get with her on that. But this is going to be a series. We're going to compare 2 states. We got a lot of states left for comparison. You know, you got Virginia, Michigan, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Maine, Idaho, Colorado, Utah, Missouri, North Carolina, Arkansas, Alabama. You got a lot of states that are potential states. Maybe a few surprises along the way. So don't think this journey's over by any means. It's actually just getting started. Now, I do need your help. Have you ever lived in Alaska or Hawaii? Which state would you pick? And did we miss something important? Leave me a comment, guys. Let me know. If you found this video interesting, be sure to share it with friends and family, guys. You never know. One conversation or one video could completely change someone's future. I want to thank you so much for watching. God bless you and your family, and I'll see you in the next set of states.